It's called project time cost trade-off. Like we'll be optimizing the time and cost based on the additional input or additional money, as well as the reduction in terms of time. So how do we achieve that? So that's the focus of this lecture. So this is typically a simple network diagram, because time cost trade-off or iterative process, which means that we'll be looking into a lot of iterations. So it'll be better if you have a simplified network so that you can solve that in time. But if you have really a complex network, you can use computers to solve that. So, but for first thing, we'll focus on the manual computation, and then you can extrapolate the idea to any complexities associated with any projects or something like that. Right. So this is a typically a 10 activity project network diagram. So activity A to J, and has got its immediate predecessors and immediate successors. And even from the previous case, we talked about time as a single entity. Even though for deterministic time, we have a single time. Even though PERT has got three times, so it is most likely time, optimistic time, and pessimistic time. But we will eventually convert that into a single equivalent time or effective time, TE. So which means time is single entity. Whereas in this case, we have got two times. One is called normal time and crash time. So we can even call duration, normal duration and crash duration, right? Say normally for activity A, it takes 2 days to complete, right? So normally for activity A, it takes 2 days, and the cost associated with the normal time is 360. Say this is a construction of a small entity, and it takes 2 days, and with a cost of 360 rupees. Whereas if you want to construct that in one day, like I'm not interested in 2 days, but I want it at the earliest. So if I want to construct that in one day, so one day is the crash duration, right? So 2 minus 1 is 1. So one day is the crash duration. So instead of 2 days, I'm going to finish that in one day itself, right? So, but then it will not be the same cost. So there will be some increased cost. That's called crash cost. So amount of money you pump in so that the activity A can be completed instead of 2 days, which is a normally scheduled day, to a one day. So that is what basically is a crash cost. It is always higher. Say it's a task done by single people. So if you pump in money so that you can hire another person to do it, so that it can be done in single day, something like that. So this is an example. So that's how it is. Normal days are higher when compared to crash days, and normal costs are lower, or in other sense, crash costs are higher when compared to the normal cost, right? So that's a basic logic, right? So we pump in extra money to finish make sure that the work done lesser than the stipulated time, right? So that's what basically is a crash duration, and associated cost is the crash cost, right? This is given for activity A to J, and you can even see crash durations like 6 day can be converted into 4 day, even 7 day can be converted into three, whereas 4 day into two, and 3 day into two, and so on. So if you take a look at it, you can understand much better. Right? If normal duration and crash duration are the same, then those activities cannot be crashed. So meaning is that no matter it's done on the same day, or how early you can compress is also the same day. So which means that there's no flexibility in that. So which means that there is no real compression in it. So that's why those, luckily we don't have such things. But in that case, the absolute difference will be zero, and so is the cost, right? So the normal cost is also the same. The crash cost is the same. In case normal duration, crash duration are the same. So which means that we don't need additional money to crash that. We cannot crash that, then there's no point in pumping additional money or something like that. So that's something which is very important. And any changes in the normal and crash will reflect in the, normal duration, crash duration will reflect in the normal cost and crash cost. Right? So this is a very, very important thing. And whenever you reduce a day, one particular unit of day, you have to pay a penalty of 100 rupees. That's an indirect cost. So indirect cost or cost of reduction or penalty per day reduction is 100 rupees. So this problem will give 100 rupees. Say a client has to pay to the, not the client, the contractor has to pay to the client for reducing a day, which was not actually scheduled in his, contract agreement. Say as a compensation, he has to pay some money, and that is this thing. So reduction, cost of reduction or indirect cost or something like that. The reason I just put this indirect cost is that this normal duration is what they put in the contract clause. Like the project gets completed by 40 days. But during some time, we might, prolong a particular activity so that this 40-day now becomes 44-day. In that, the project manager will decides like this has got 2 days and probably, 5 and minus 3 is 2 days. So there are 2 days. Say if it gets 44 day, when you reduced, expected gets 44, then probably you can reduce this thing by 2 days, like 5 days can be converted to 3 and 4 days can be converted to 2. So that they say the extra 4 days, which is supposed to be an cost and time overrun. So in that case, project management can use the crashing technique to bring the time overrun or cost overrun project into equilibrium or under control. So that's what basically this time cost trade-off. But we'll take a look at numerical problem on crashing all the activities and to find the least possible cost. Despite we have got additional crashing cost, we will be looking into crashing activities based on some logic so that we'll get the least cost and optimum time, right? So you see this project gets completed by 40 days. But if you take a look at critical path, we'll be understanding what is the critical path, and that's the project duration. And that can be compressed to finish it at the earliest with additional money. So it's a crash cost money. So that's basically the logic, right? And the penalty is 1 rupee. So this is the network diagram. We have got A to J, and so A is from 1 to 2, B is 1 to 3, and C is 2 to 4, and so on. So this is how the nomenclature is. Then this is the duration. So in a CPM and PERT, we have got a single time, which is in CPM, it's a deterministic time directly. And in PERT, we will be converting the equivalent time. So that's basically optimistic time plus 4 times the most likely plus the pessimistic time divided by 6. That gives you equivalent times, and we will put it here. But in this problem, we have got normal time as well as the crash time. The normal time, which is bigger, and we just generally provided outside the bracket, whereas the crash durations are critical, so we provide inside the bracket. So all the duration outside are normal duration, and the one which is given inside, the brackets are called crash durations, right? Something like that. And finally, and same way you can explicitly mention about the cost. So normal cost outside and crash cost inside. So you don't have to draw two different diagrams. Even in a single diagram, you can express it. For clarity, I've drawn two different diagrams. One is on time, another is on cost, something like that, right? So steps we'll get back to a little later. This is a sanity check that we use in CPM to find out the critical path method, right? So in this case is 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is critical. Like 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this particular kind of path is critical, and the normal duration for that is 22. The maximum possible duration, the project duration is 23 in a normal time, whereas in a crash time it is 11, right? So when you sum up all the crash time, it is 11. You can take a look at the 6 different paths. Out of this path is critical. So this is 22, right? Something like that. Only for crashing, you can take a look at the sanity check. Whereas for CPM and PERT, you should find out by forward pass and backward pass computation, right? So only for project crashing, this sanity check is allowed. I mean, the sanity check can be taken for calculating the critical path. Whereas in a CPM method problem, you should really look into the original method, right? So the reason we use this, table format in the project crashing is that the project crashing itself is iterative process. Then it will be very difficult for you to complete it within the stipulated time. But however, in a real case, you should really look into the forward pass and backward pass computation. But for want of time and for clarity and also the effort to save maximum effort for calculating the iterative process, so we will use this particular table to calculate the critical path. Right. Next is very important. It's called difference in the cost and difference in time. We know that crash costs are higher than normal cost, so we will put crash cost minus normal cost. Whereas delta time is normal time, which is higher when compared to crash time. It is normal time minus crash time. Or you can take an absolute value of the differences. Cost means normal cost minus crash cost, the absolute difference. And same way you can take a time, normal time minus crash time, the absolute difference or something like that. So it is just the difference in the cost and difference in time, right? So next is very important. It is called cost slope, right? It is called cost slope, which is crash cost minus normal cost divided by normal time minus crash time, or in other case, it is delta cost divided by delta time, right? So this cost slope is a very important entity in the project crashing. So kindly take a look at that. So that's very important. So it's a delta cost divided by delta time. So how far the difference in cost varied with difference in time. So that's what basically the cost slope. The least cost slope will be among the critical paths or considered to be a very important, point of discussion for crashing. So understand that in a project network diagram, we found out the critical path. Among the critical path, the one which has the least cost slope is what our consideration. So let's take a look at the implications of that a little later. But as of now, this is the cost slope. Right. The next important step is that normal cost minus the crash cost is the delta cost. So we need to calculate for all the activity I to j. That's the normal cost, crash cost, the difference, absolute difference. Or if you want to find out, it's crash cost minus normal cost. That will be the delta cost. Whereas time, it is normal time minus crash time. So that will be delta time, right? So if you do it in Excel, it will be pretty easy. Will be just the subtraction of the two cells. Now finding out the absolute difference between the row 1 and row 2. Somewhere now. Then we will be taking a cost slope. So how to find cost slope is delta cost divided by delta time. So delta cost will take it from this particular thing and delta time is from this particular thing. We divide cost by time. So 57 divided by 1 is 57. 70 divided by 2 is 35 and 50 divided by 2 is 25 and so on. Or 396 divided by 4 is 99 and so on. Right. So this is how you generally find out the cost slope. Right. Then it's pretty important. If you take any operation research textbook, people have used a confusing method or like the iterative procedure they use is pretty much like very confusing for a beginner. So I've taken a method from construction project scheduling. It is a W approach or crashing table you can call. So that a single table will yield you a promising result. So that's what basically we try to achieve in this particular lecture. A single table will be considering all the the processes, and finally we'll be drawing a graph where we will be finding out the least cost and optimum time schedule for this particular network diagram. Right. Without a further ado, let's get into the actual core concept of project crashing. First, we have to find total project duration. So the total project duration is 22 days. That's a critical path duration, right? So remember in this table, we found out the normal duration's critical path is 22. So that will be the project duration or total project duration, right? Then total cost. So once we find out total duration, we'll find total cost. So total cost is equals to direct cost, which is all the sum of all the total normal cost plus overhead cost. So this is very important. Total cost equals to direct cost plus overhead cost. So this is a typical example. Direct cost will calculate all the normal costs, say from this table. We will calculate all the normal costs starting from 360 till 353. We'll sum up all that, that is 5825. So that's all the normal cost. And we know penalty per day reduction is 100. So the project duration is 22. So 22 multiplied by 100 is 2200. And when we add that with the project duration, it is 5825. It is 8025. So remember that total cost is 8025. It is the sum of direct cost plus overhead charges, something like that. So this is an mechanical way of doing things. Next will be the W. Let's explain that because that's very important. You should really know about the W approach. So this is the W. It's an iterative process, so you can put number of columns in the days shortened, right? Activity from A to J, and the duration is normal duration and crash duration. We also put, it's the question, right? So from this to this is the question. I mean, from this to this is the question. Activity to 479, this particular thing is a question. Then we will find delta cost. Then we will find delta days, which is delta time. Then delta cost divided by delta day or delta time. So that will be the cost flow, right? So that's very important. And this is very important. The reason we provide this is it works automatically. It's almost a mechanical method of computation. We have got reduced days, is nothing at the initial stage. And the project duration is a critical path duration is 22. Increased cost per time, which is the cost low, that is not there in the initial stage. And direct cost, we know 5825, and overhead cost is 2200, and then total cost is 8025, right? So this is a typical example. What we will be finding out is we'll be reducing a day in the critical path, and let's see what is its implications. And finally, we'll find out the optimum time and least cost, something like that. So this is a typical example. This is actually original table. Generally, they use for computation. This entire table is the replication of all these concepts. So whatever we did, this and this, from here to this is the replication. You don't have to do this. Is for clarity. I've just explained. You can only do in this particular table itself, right? So whenever a problem is asked on crashing, you just directly draw this table and start computing this and keep it ready, right? So that's basically a very important thing. The overhead charge, as I told you, it is 22 multiplied per day is 100, so it is 2200. Something like that. And some of these two things are called total cost, and this is total duration, or you can even give total project duration, something like that. Right? Then later on, we also found that during examination they don't have to really replicate this because that's there in the question. So we further concise this table into this, right? So we only have activity and difference in time and the cost flow. So we don't have to really look into other aspects. So this is the final table. In examination, you can take a look at this table itself. You can start working on your, computation in this table itself, right? As simple as that. Right, so this is typically the table, and also additionally, we'll be looking into the other aspects or something. Right. So this is the initial table, and here I've highlighted some activities in red color. So those are the critical activities or the critical path, like B, D, E, I, and J. Right. So these are the critical path. Remember, from this point onwards, we'll be looking into the trial and error method for finding out the least cost and optimal time. So kindly pay attention. Sometimes this might be confusing, so I request you to pay much attention to this. Once we draw this table, we will label or isolate the critical paths by differentiating them with the rest of the thing. In examination, you can, you don't have to color this, you can put a square around this or something like that. So square on all the critical paths in pencil, so that we need to we erase that when the critical path gets over, or when new critical paths occurs or something like that, right? So this is typically that. First step is finding out the activity that has the least cost flow. So this is the table. I'll move it so I understand much better. Yeah, this is the table, and out of these critical activities B, D, E, I, and J, the least cost slope is 35, right? So 35 and 34.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. Like, could you just let me know why did you like mark B, D, E, F, I, J in red, sir? Like, how did
Those are
you? Well, sir.
those are critical activities, no? From here, B, D, E, I, J. Those are
So
critical
let me ask you a
activities.
question, sir.
Yeah,
Okay, sir.
yeah. That is what we will find in the initial stage. First step, we'll find out the critical activity. Then we will mark them in this table. So in this table, then you can, as I told you, you can differentiate that with some demarcations or some symbols which you can like. So absolutely, that's up to you. Then out of these critical activities like B, D, E, I, J, you need to select the critical activity that has got a least cost flow, right? So once you get a least cost flow, from that point onwards, the iteration starts, right? So this is the critical activity B, which has got the least cost flow among 35, 134, 100, 99, and 63, right? So we'll mark that. And the maximum possible reduction is 2 days. How do we get this 2 days? Normal, normal duration minus the crash duration. Let's go to the table itself. Activity B has got 4 day in the normal duration, whereas 2 day in the crash duration. And this 4 day can be converted into 2 days, so which means 4 minus 2 is the delta T or delta duration. So we can compress B maximum by 2 days, like 4 day initially. It can be converted into 4 to 1 is 4 to 3 is 1 day, and 3 to 2 is 2 days. So which means that we can compress that by 2 days. So that's what basically this table, right? This algorithm is a reduction day algorithm. So which means that we will reduce 1 day in a critical activity that has a least cost flow. Then we'll see if there is any change in the critical path. If there is any change in the critical path, we'll include all the other new critical paths. If there isn't any change in the critical path, then we'll continue the iteration. So it'll be very confusing if I tell you by description. I'll show you by example, this particular example. Say the B can be reduced by 2 days, right? So initially we'll reduce it by 1 day and see what happens, right? So I can reduce that by 1 day. So that's why B, I have reduced it to 1 day. So the number of day it got reduced, I mean the project duration got reduced is 1 day, right? So 22 minus 1 is 21. Remember that this is 22 minus 1 is 21. Then the cost slope, increased cost per day. Like what is the cost per reduction duration is 35, right? So this is 35 here. And then it is direct cost gets increased. So we add direct cost, which is 5825 plus 35, that will become 5860. So remember, 5825 plus 35 will give us 5860. And overhead cost for 22, completely reducing the entire critical path is 2200, which is 22 multiplied by 100. Whereas in this case, it's just 21 multiplied by 100. So that will become 2100. So which means that we have reduced 1 day successfully. And then direct cost is 5860 plus 2100, that will become 7960. So which means that the total critical path now has reduced to 1 day, which is 21 days, and the total cost is 7960. So which means that we have literally achieved a day reduction, but least cost. So we have reduced some amount of cost here, right? So the iteration process continues. Then what we do is we will have the same table. In examination, you can use the single table, this one. And with pencil, you can erase it and you can have the check over it. So for clarity, I'm just repeating it again. So we have reduced it to 1 day, and then we'll take a look at whether there's any change in the critical path. So 22 has become 21, and 11 has become 10. And then the other activities, like probably the activities that has got the particular critical path, critical activities, like say B here and D here, sorry, and E here. So those also gets reduced by some amount of time, right? So that's what basically it means. But for this case, only the value which D gets varied because you only take D reduced by 1 day. But overall critical paths remains the same. So 21 is still the highest. So we'll continue the iteration. Then you see iteration is complete, no change in the critical path. Right. So we can reduce further by 1 day. So we can reduce another time by 1 day. So once you reduce it by 1 day, this will become 1 plus 1 is 2. So 22 minus 2 is 20. And then the cost slope is the same, is 35. And this value over direct cost plus this 35 will give us a new direct cost. Then this project, like duration is 20. So 20 multiplied by 100 is 2000 or something like that. And once you add 5895 plus 2000, it is 7865. So which means that it has reduced further, some around 95 or something like that. So this is a typical example. So once we do that, we'll check the critical path, but still this is the critical path. But one thing is that we have completely exhausted B because we can reduce maximum that by 2 days. We have completely reduced that, but the critical path has not changed. So this is remains the same, but a B gets completely crushed. Next, what we do is we need to find out a critical activity among B, D, E, I, J. And since B is completely exhausted, we cannot take B again. So out of D, E, I, J, we need to find out the critical activity that has got the least cost slope. So in this case, it's 63. So if you take a look at 134, 100, 99, and 63, out of that, the least cost slope is 63, and that corresponds to activity J, and it can be reduced by 2 days, right? Like B, it can be reduced by 2 days. So first we'll reduce 1 day. The cost slope is 63. Say here it is 1 day reduction. The total reduction we have achieved is 3 days. So 22 minus 3 is 19. Then cost slope was 63. Then direct cost from the previous case plus the cost slope will give us the direct cost for this particular crashing. And then 19 into 100 is 1900. Then 5895 plus 1900 adds up to 7858. And when we take a look at the critical path, it's still the critical. You see, 19 is the highest of all. And then we'll continue the iteration. Then you can take a look at this another time. So another reduction is possible here. So I reduce it 1 day and the process remains the same. It is actually 4. 22 minus 4 is 18. The cost slope is 63 and here is 63. 5895 plus 63 is 6048 plus 18 into 100 is 1800 and this will become 7848 and as simple as that. And when you take a look at it, still this is the critical. But if you take a look at here, 16 and 15 is almost nearing to the critical paths. So that's why we need to really have a check on these things. And very importantly, now J is also completely crushed. So we cannot take D and J out of the critical activities. The remaining is D, E, and I, right? So D, E, and I. Among that, the least critical path is I, which has got 99, whereas the other things like D and E has 134 and 100, which is greater than 99. but I can be reduced to 4 days. Remember that delta duration for I is 4 days. So we can start doing it. And then next step will be reducing I to 1 day. So this will be 5. So 22 minus 5 is 17. And the cost slope is 99. And the direct cost is 6048 plus 99 is 6147. And then 17 into 100 is 1700. Whereas when we add both, it is 7847. Right? So you see, the pattern is decreasing. The pattern is decreasing. At one point, it will start rising. So that will be our optimal point. So we'll be trying to achieve that only. Then once you reduce 1 day in I, the 17, but still it's the critical path. Next, we'll do another 1 day reduction in I, which is this 4 minus 2. So 2 days is gone. So this is 99. This will become 16. 16 multiplied by 100 is 1600. 6147 plus 99 is 6246. When you add both together, it's 7846. Something like a stagnant. 48, 47, and 46 is almost a stagnant thing. Then we'll check the critical path. It's still the critical. 16 is still the critical. Let's do it again with activity J. This is a third day reduction in J. I beg your pardon. Then it is 15, 99, 6246 plus 99 is 6345. Plus 15 into 100 is 1500. When you add both 6345 plus 1500 is 7845. And as simple as that. And also still critical. Next, we'll reduce the final day in I. This is the fourth day. And if you reduce it is 14, and 99 is the component, and 6444 is the direct cost, and 1400 and 7844. And finally, it's still the critical path. So we have exhausted B, then exhausted I and J. Now we only left with D and E. Among the critical activities, the least cost of this is least cost slope among D and E is E. Is 100, but you can reduce it by only 1 day. So for E, it is only 1 day. So it's 100 duration. And once we reduce 1 day E, this will become 13. Cost slope is 100. The reason is 100 here. And then 6444 plus 100 gives you 6544. Then 13 into 100 will give us 1300. And 6544 plus 1300 is 7844. So this is a typical value. And we have exhausted E completely. But if you take a look at this, this is very interesting. We have got, this thing as critical, but we have got a new critical path here, B, D, and H. Since B and D is already here, H is a new activity, no new critical activity. So the next iteration will be looking into the new iterations also, new critical activities also. That's why here H is highlighted. So here H is highlighted. H can be reduced by 2 days, and the cost slope is 48. But if you take a look at this thing, B, D, E, H, I, and J, we have completely exhausted B, which is path number 1, and we completely exhausted E, that is critical path number 1, and also I and J. So which means we are left with only D and E in path 1 and H in path 2. So this is a real tricky portion. Remember, now you should take least cost slope in both critical paths. Right. So here it is. Here is a critical path. Here is another critical path. So in this critical path, we need to find out a critical activity with the least cost slope. So H is the least cost slope, which is having only 48. That's why I have circled here. And in this critical path, we need to find out the least cost slope. So in this critical path is activity T, right? So you may argue that there's a T here, so it's absolutely fine, right? But if D is not here, then we'll be finding out the remaining thing, which has a least critical, which has the least cost slope, right? So in this case, we have found H and D. So D can be reduced by 2 days, and H can be reduced by 2 days. But in this algorithm states that it's a reduction a day algorithm. So D is reduced to 1 day, and H is also reduced to 1 day, and 134 plus 48. So that's a cost slope is 182. Then 6544 plus 182, that is 6726, and we have reduced it 2 days since it's a day as reducing a day algorithm for two parts. So which is 11 multiplied by 100 is 1100. So 6726 plus 1100 is 7826. But still, if you see, the pattern is decreasing, the total cost is decreasing, and the project duration is also decreasing. So at one point, the project duration starts decreasing, but the total cost, the final total cost gets increased. So that point is our optimal point. So far we have not achieved that. Let's take a look at, we have reduced D to 1 day and H to 1 day. So once you reduce H to 1 day, this path will no more a critical, because this is still 11, and also we reduce D by 1 day, right? So this will become 11, and the original critical path retains. So newly formed critical path gets over, and then we can discard H for the next iteration. So I repeat, when there's a two critical paths, we'll be considering all the activities of both the critical paths, and we'll be selecting the activity that has the least cost slope in both the paths. Here it is H having the least cost slope, here is D having the least cost slope. And then what we do is we will be reducing that, and finally we'll take a look at the table again. But this case, we have got only 12 here, we have 12 here, and we have only 11 here. So this is no more critical now. So our original critical path retains. The newly formed critical activity H gets eliminated in the next iteration. So among that, we have completely exhausted B, we have completely exhausted I and J, and even E. We are left with only D. So that's why we take this as critical, least cost slope and this particular critical activity. We can reduce it to 2 day. Already we have reduced it to 1 day. So we can reduce it further by 1 day. So this will become 10. So for the want of space, I've just removed or shortened this. I moved all the things to the left side. So this is 1, and the day reduces 10. So initially it is 11. 11 minus 1 is 10. Then 6860. So that is 6726 plus 10. That will be 6860. Then 130, sorry, one, not 10, 134. So that is 6860. 10 into 100 is 1000. So when you add both things, it's 7860. So 7860. Here it is 7826. And at this point, it started increasing. I hope it is increasing, right? So once you reduce it 1 day, D is also completely exhausted. And now we have got three critical paths. Path number 1, ACEIJ. Path number 2, AFIJ, or you can even take the original as path 1. Say BDEIJ is path 1, and ACEIJ is path 2, critical path 2, and AFIJ is path 3. All have got the same critical duration, or the critical path duration. So it is 11, right? So BDEIJ. So EIJ is here in this also. IJ is here in this also. So the thing that are different is A, C, and F, right? So A, C, and F are pretty new. Since B, D, E, I, J are the original critical path, and A, C, F are the new critical, paths. Now, what we need to really do is that we will be started taking all the paths, say for this case, A, C, E, I, J. Among this, C has got the least critical, least cost slope, which is 49 for path 1, path 2, right? In this case, AFIJ, F has got the least cost slope. So that's why we choose here. And since BDEIJ, we have completely exhausted, so we don't have any paths left. So B is already done, D, E, I, J, all are completely crashed. So the newly formed critical path C and F is the least cost slope, right? So we'll reduce 1 day in C and 1 day in F. So this will become 10 minus 2 is 8, and 25 plus 49 is 74. That's a cost slope. And 6860 plus 74 is 6934, and 8 into 100 is 800. Now it started declining again. So at one point it started increasing, and now it started declining. So 7850, sorry, 7834 is the least cost slope. Then we'll take a look at that. Then our original critical path gets retained. So which means that uh, out of this particular entity, this is the least maximum possible time to reduce the 22. The 22 duration can be reduced to 11, provided it is crashed completely, right? And this still the critical path, and no more paths are critical. So which means we have finished, and finally we have reached the iteration, right? So iteration 12 is complete. So even for us 6 path activities, it takes 12 iterations to complete. And the critical activity C is completely crashed, and C is completely crashed. It's 1 day, but there are time for F. You can have it, but you know we as the algorithm terminates here, this original critical path is still a critical path now, and no more newly formed critical path, and it cannot be crashed further because it has got 0 duration. And why do we stop this algorithm? Is B, D, E, I, J gets completely crashed, and no more crashing is possible, and no more new critical activities, and hence the iteration is completed. Right. Next, what we do is we need to plot this graph, right? So a point at which it is minimum, it is 7, 8. I think it's this one, 7826. After 7826, it gets increased, say 7860, and then it is just like a wobble, 7734, right? So if you have taken a course in calculus, then you probably know, even though there are minimum values here, this is the global minima or the overall minimum value, right? So we started with 22, we just reached 21, then we reduce it to further, and finally at 11, 11 is the least value, the lowest value in this graph. So that's a global minimum, and the duration, the time, right? So corresponds to that is the optimal time, and the cost associated with this, like I think it's 7826 or something like that. So that is the least cost. So you can complete this project 11,000, I mean 11 duration with 7,820. So that's the optimal value. So we have found out the optimal time as well as the least cost, right? So we'll go back to the question itself. So the critical path duration is 22. We have reduced it to 11, possibly 11. We have completely crashed, and on that process, we have found out the time, right? Say this is the original cost, which is 8,025. We have even reduced it to further with 11 days, but the cost is only 7,000. Here it is. 7,826. So with this least cost, you can complete this project in 11 days. So this is the typical crushing. It will be very difficult for you to, only look into this as a theoretical perspective. If you take a look at this and try solving this on your own, then you understand the implications of this, right? So I have uploaded this in the Google Drive. You can take a look at it whenever you're free. Practice this, or you can even take some online stuff, time cost trade-off. They might have some confusing methods. You can also practice that. There's nothing wrong. But you really appreciate this particular table view approach, which is pretty much very clean and straightforward. and making a mistake will be very less, something like that. And final thoughts, you don't have to make these multiple tables. So you can do everything in this single table and with the aid of this single table. So you can reduce this. Once you reduce the iteration, you can erase it with pencil and you can find out the critical paths. And if there's any new critical path, you can make a note in this thing. So only with these two tables, you can completely finish this particular problem. Right. So that completes today's lecture on brushing.